You know, there was a time when Captain America meant something. He wasn't just another superhero, he was an ideal. He was the embodiment of what America aspired to be: courage, sacrifice, and morality under pressure. But if you've read Marvel comics over the last 20 years, you've probably noticed that Captain America has become almost unrecognizable. And I'm not talking about one bad storyline. I'm talking about a 2-decade-long erosion of everything that made Steve Rogers matter. Once upon a time, Captain America represented timeless values. He stood above politics, not because he didn't care, but because he believed in principles that transcend political tribes. Somewhere around the early 2000s, Marvel decided that wasn't enough. They turned Cap into a mouthpiece. Suddenly, instead of standing for universal truths, freedom, duty, honor, he was being used to deliver lectures about how America is broken, corrupt, or beyond saving. And sure, self-reflection can be interesting. But when every story is about how the hero's country is the real villain, you lose what made the hero inspirational in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong. Civil War was a great event comic, but it also marked the beginning of Marvel treating Steve Rogers as a symbol of opposition, not inspiration. From that point on, Cap wasn't the moral center. He was the guy Marvel used to argue with its own audience. And that trend never really stopped. Every major Cap arc after Civil War doubled down on this America bad message, without any real nuance or redemption. Captain America used to question authority, but now he hates it. Used to stand for freedom. Now he's written like he's ashamed of it. And then there was Secret War. Yeah, that. Making Captain America a secret Hydra agent wasn't edgy. It wasn't bold, and it definitely wasn't clever. It was just a gimmick. It took 75 years of storytelling, 75 years of readers who believed in Steve Rogers and said, what if he was actually a Nazi the whole time? That's not storytelling. That's contempt. And what's worse is that the writers knew it would upset fans. That was the point. Controversy equals attention. Attention equals sales. The legacy of Captain America became a marketing stunt. Another big reason Cap's legacy has fallen apart is because Marvel doesn't let heroes be heroes anymore. Steve Rogers keeps getting replaced, de-aged, resurrected, retired, rinse and repeat. You can't build a legend when you're constantly rebooting it. And when you hand the shield off to someone else every other year, it doesn't look like evolution. It looks like Marvel's embarrassed by its own creation. There's nothing wrong with legacy characters, but the legacy only means something if you respect the original. And Marvel hasn't respected Steve Rogers in a long, long time. The real tragedy is that Captain America used to be a moral compass. He was the character who reminded everyone, heroes and readers alike, that there is right and wrong, even when it's inconvenient. Now, every modern story wants to make him, quote, complicated, unquote, cynical, doubtful, detached. They've stripped away the optimism that made him powerful, because in the modern Marvel world, cynicism sells better than sincerity. But the whole point of Steve Rogers was that he believed when no one else did. Captain America used to inspire belief, not just in America, but in us. He was proof that decency, courage, and conviction still had a place in the modern world. But somewhere along the way, Marvel lost faith in that idea. And when they believed in Captain America, when they started treating him like a political statement instead of a symbol of hope, they lost what made him legendary. And the truth is, once a company stops believing in its own heroes, the audience stops too. If you grew up loving Captain America like I did, if you missed the days when he stood for something bigger than just one side of an argument, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. I've got a lot more coming on how Marvel and DC have lost touch with what made comics great in the first place. Maybe someday they'll remember that heroes aren't supposed to apologize for being heroic. Yeah, I hated that. So, it's your boy Zach, and what I did is, let's go to the top of this absolute soulless crap, is I wrote a prompt on ChatGPT, and I said, write a script for a YouTube video with just me talking casually about how Marvel Comics has destroyed the legacy of Captain America and its comics over the last 20 years. And if you noticed, it didn't sound like me at all. What it sounded like exactly was Wes. Wes is a tourist who lies and takes bribes. Whenever he doesn't have co-hosts to rely on who actually grew up reading comics, he uses ChatGPT. So if you wonder about the weird sing-song cadence, it's because anyone who uses ChatGPT for research, they talk like this about everything. Sometimes I will literally put in the prompt, don't talk like yourself, talk normal. No M dashes. So if you wonder about the weird pauses, it's because he's trying to figure out how to use an M dash. An M dash is longer than an N dash. It's called an M dash because supposedly it's the width of a capital M. So this transcend political tribes, this weird kind of bumpy, jumpy. Captain America used to question authority, but now he hates it. He used to stand for freedom, and now he's written like he's ashamed of it. Again, this is the exact tone. Wes does not have a deep bench. He's not a real fan. He somehow grew up in the town without comics, and I did a video on that a couple days ago, and everybody was appalled. The ridiculousness of that lie, that you grew up in a part of America, middle America, in the 80s and 90s, and you didn't have access to comics is ridiculous. So what's the issue? Well, if you are going to him for any depth, you're not going to get it. You're going to get cynicism. Cynicism masked as this. Again, this like weird sing-song cadence. Controversy equals attention. Attention equals sales. You notice he never talks like that extemporaneously in live streams. But when he is on his own and he has nothing to rely on, no one else to rely on, he uses ChatGPT to cheat while never acknowledging that he does so. Now, if you're just a sad sack loser middle-aged man who just wants to hear that everyone else is a failure so you don't feel like a failure, by all means. But if you're going to him for information, all you're going to get is thimble-deep crap that he got from ChatGPT. Hated this. This sucks. Literally, here's the deal. You don't have to have read comics for 40 years to have a channel. But you shouldn't lie about it. You shouldn't use... The thing is, anybody can do what Wes does. You just type, give me a negative... tell me all the ways DC fucked up Wonder Woman. And then you'll get this vague, sing-songy cadence. Now, every modern story wants to make him complicated, cynical, doubtful, detached. Look, if you want to come into comics, by all means, come in here. But don't act like you've got some store of knowledge when you have to rely on ChatGPT after... This reminds me of like Heather Antos. So Heather Antos got to be the group editor of the Star Trek comics, obviously knowing nothing about them. It's like 5 years later. She still only knows like the basic character names. I one time used ChatGPT and I said if she watched a 1 hour episode or half of a movie, how long would it take her to watch like everything? It wasn't even that long. I think it was like a year and a half to 2 years. It's 5 years later. She doesn't know anything about it. Wes has been doing the channel almost as long as I have. And when he doesn't have co-hosts to rely on, he has to have fucking ChatGPT. It is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.